Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I know this week is a busy week. I've seen lots of events going on in the industry. So thank you so much for spending this hour with us. As Sylvia says, we will record this. So for whatever reason you need to jump out, take a call, we'll share this as a record. And for those who have registered but were unable to make it, we'll also share that with you. So thank you so much. So today is all about elevating the guest journey and really looking at hospitality from a digital perspective. So we're here in the week of International Women's Day, and Sylvia and I actually met last year at a wonderful event which celebrates women in the entrepreneurial industry, and we really have kept in touch since that event, and we wanted to really bring together our collective skills and expertise, having worked both in digital marketing and in hospitality, to really kind of break down what that digital guest journey looks like and how you as hospitality operators and people working in the service sector can use hopefully some of these skills and things that we'll go through this morning. So in terms of our agenda, we've got an hour together. We've left some time towards the end for Q&As. So if you can, there will be the chat box that will open. So if you can just pop any questions as they come to mind in the chat box, and we'll do a full Q&A towards the end. But in terms of our agenda today, we'll be taking you through that first impression digitally. So looking at SEO, search engine optimization, and your online visibility as a venue, a hotel, restaurant, etc. And then we'll be talking about how you can optimize your own website and really drive that conversion to get those people visiting your websites to purchase, to make a booking. And then once they've made that booking, how do you nurture that journey right the way through to that guest arriving with you and beyond checkout to really drive loyalty? And then finally, we'll wrap up just around that whole loyalty and reputation management piece, and just why it is so important and how it's linked to having a sort of resilient and successful business. So we'll then move into Q&As and then and really wrap up and share the recording with you. So let me hand over to Sylvia, who will do an introduction to her background and kick us off.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. First of all, thank you, Ashley, for the beginning of the conversation, and it's wonderful to have you all here. I am the director of a pure play SEO agency. I've been doing this job for 15 years. As you can tell from the accent, I'm not originally from here. I'm from Italy, and it's a very, very strong touristic area where I'm from, because it's Tuscany on the seaside. So we've been working with hospitality businesses quite a lot. And now we're based in West London. It's a pure play SEO agency, meaning that we don't do anything else than optimizing websites and find ways to get them on top of Google. And Ashley, how about you?
Hi everyone. Well, I have worked in hospitality industry for over 20 years and predominantly in marketing and communications. I've worked with lots of brands, Hilton, Shangri-La, with Starwood Hotels and Resorts prior to Marriott, and always have just loved the industry. I now have my own consultancy, which I work with my husband, and collectively we have 40 years experience in hospitality. My husband's more from a operations and guest experience side, and mine from a marketing and communication side. And we work with our clients to really offer that 360-degree approach to delivering loyalty. So looking at all of your guest experience strategies and how marketing and communications can support that to ultimately deliver loyalty. So we've our business has been going about 4 years, and we support businesses here in the UK as well as further afield. So as Sylvia said, we're delighted to be here, and thank you so much for sharing your time with us. So I think with that, Sylvia, should we jump right in? And over to you. Thank you.
So let's start having an initial moment to consider ways to be found online, ways to be discovered online. I will start sharing my screen with you now. And this is the two of us, as you can clearly tell. What I would like this first session to be is a little bit of an active session. So not just passive listening, interacting as much as possible. If you can type in the chat and if you can interact, I would love to know, as of now, where you're getting the majority of your customers from. And you see here quite a few possible options. So you might be getting some from social media, word of mouth. If it's social media, which ones are working for you? Because it's insightful to see what works for the others. It can open a moment of reflection and seeing, maybe I'm not using this channel. Somebody might be using Facebook groups. Somebody might be using Instagram or even YouTube. It's interesting to see, are you getting any joy from local PR partnerships, as in your hotel, you collaborate with a restaurant, or you collaborate with a spa and you refer clients through and fro. Google Maps, platforms, are you on TripAdvisor, anything like that? If you want to start chipping in and giving some of your, we can then have a more in-depth conversation after. And I can't look at the chat when I'm talking. I mean, I will we will interact with everything at the end. Feel free to contribute and give your best experiences and what is working for you, what you think that could be an interesting thing that you haven't done and you could do. Another thing that I would like you to start reflecting, and that's a little piece of exercise, is jotting down on a piece of paper. If you don't have it, just take a moment. It only takes a piece of paper and a pen. And jotting down at the moment what would be the ideal list of things that you would like to be found for, the words that you would like people to be searching when you want them to be finding you. It could be, I don't know, Spanish tapa sailing, because I know some of you. It could be business lunches somewhere. It could be whatever you would want to be bringing you more business, more customers, more bookings. Start making a list. And this list is by no means exhaustive, because this is a work in progress by nature. So we're starting a thinking process, and this is just the beginning of a piece of work. Now, on the right-hand side of this list, I would like you, not now, later, this afternoon, tomorrow, whenever you have a moment, to start Googling these terms and finding out who is now ranking for these terms. Say top 10. And you will find out if there are portals, if there are independents, how good they are. Are they really your competitors, or is there somebody else who you think should be there? How well organized are their pages? How are you ranking in there? Are you in the list, in the map pack? It's a good way of checking your competitors and how they're faring and how you are faring against them, what other keywords they're using, what you can see them ranking for, and we'll see a little bit more of this as we go on. Now, another little test to do, because SEO is made of a lot of elements, and in 20 minutes, by means, we can look at all of them. I'm giving you some short, easy, actionable things that you can do to get your site to rank better. This is a free test. If you Google page speed tests, you will find an online quick free test. You put your website URL in here and you analyze it, and you will see this sort of traffic light, red, amber, green. And you will see why there is a list of things that need to be fixed. Absolutely, we don't need to think of you as the person who will be fixing these things, but becoming aware if there is an issue, and there might be several types of issues that are affecting your page speed. There might be images that are too big, videos, they're taking a lot of resources, your hosting is not very performing. There might be a lot of things. You need to acknowledge what the situation is like, and then you can ask for help to your web developer, somebody who does this job, our job, anyone who could put their hands into the code of the website, but it's important to find out how this thing is. Then, mobile friendly. You will see in these slides quite a bit of examples. It can be good or bad examples, and it's a way for us together to reflect on some of the things that we find online. They're all real examples online. So first, you should test your own website. Again, on Google, there is this free Google mobile friendly test. I'm expecting every website to be mobile friendly by now. But when you see these examples, what comes to mind? You can open your microphones and just say, there is nothing silly that you can say. It's all just your impressions. What are your impressions from this? They have something in common.
I think they're all say book now. They've all got a folder actually.
Yes, 10 points. And they say it a lot of time repeated. See how many times in a page, in a small screen, they're telling me twice, nearly all of them, that I should be booking now. And I don't need to be repeated that much, or maybe I need. So we now need to see how your websites are performing. So on mobile, try to navigate it as if it wasn't yours, or even better, do the grammar test. Get somebody with a very limited tech knowledge to perform an action. Tell somebody who's not really tech savvy, can you book a room? Can you do something? Can you perform this action? How easy it is? And that's a sort of UX, user experience test that you're performing with them, because we only have a limited amount of time and attention from people. User experience now is one of the first criteria that Google really cares about, which connects back to page speed. Lots of things fall back into user experience now, and everybody's Googling on mobile nowadays. We are having the majority of our browser experience on mobile. So have a look at your site. How does it look? Is it easy to perform the actions that you want them to do? Pop-ups, they might be your best friend, or they might be something that you struggle a lot. Again, these are all real examples. This is a client of ours, so I'm using it as an example because I know that we've done quite a few nice, good things in there, and I find easily something to refer to. So if you've got something that is new, that is coming now, that you want to push, the pop-up is the first thing that you see. But how many times are we annoyed by the pop-ups? And Google knows it. Google can take a website back from ranking as well as could be if the pop-ups are being intrusive, too big, difficult to close, creating a harder user experience. In this case, for example, they didn't even know that their pop-up isn't loading or isn't showing up correctly, and I tested refreshing multiple times. They might have fixed it now. It was a screenshot 2 days ago, but it's again being aware of what our own assets are and making sure that they work in our favor and not against us. Keywords. Now, keywords are one of the things that I like the most. Now, again, a little bit of a test together. What do you think this hotel here wants to rank for? That's an easy question again. I'm going for very easy questions. Claire, I think you're the only brave one who's talking. See, it's so prominent, it's so clear that you can't mistake it, and that's the way it should be. Because sometimes you see on websites things that are hidden really down, the dawn of a new era, and you're just welcoming people into your new lounge, into a new service. Google won't understand what you're talking about unless it's really clear and easy on the website. So do you remember that list that you started making on the left-hand side, the things that you want to be found for, they need to be on your pages in a clear, prominent way. We can't play hide and seek with Google. They need to be there, possibly at the very beginning, and see how everything is precise. Now, when you see a square, I'm giving you a hint, it means that there is something wrong in here. Now, these ones here have a square. Hi, guys. Want to contribute, please? Do you see anything in this one here that isn't perfect?
It's like a webinar thing for
I think you're not muted, you're speaking with somebody else, maybe. Okay.
sorry.
Just muted. So in this case here, there is something that isn't perfect. If you're not spotting it, I will give you a hint. And this is how we see results on Google all the time. So we see the title, the URL. Once you click on this, it becomes purple. And this thing underneath is the meta description, which is the tiny blurb or extract that Google will take and show in the results. And when you're appearing on Google, it's not just you, you're appearing with a lot of other competitors. So you need to get your chance of clicking on your result. This is the thing that isn't perfect. You see there is an ellipsis here because it's a little bit too long. You only have 155 characters in your meta descriptions. So this has been created using the keyword that we want you to rank for. So that keyword needs to be on the page in all the right places, the title, the heading, the images, the description, the copy, all of there, that keyword that you listed, possibly every page a different keyword. And it shouldn't be truncated. So we need to try and create a concise, compelling, keyword-friendly meta description. ChatGPT can help you. So if you tell ChatGPT, I need a meta description, 155 characters. This is the keyword that I want. This is what the page is about, with a call to action. It's usually pretty good. In this case here, maybe my window here is hiding something. Do you see anything else that isn't perfect? Again, keywords. We have quite a few keywords in here, so we know what they want to rank for. It's not placed at the beginning, it's on the second end, so we usually want the keyword more at the beginning and the rest after. The brand is usually after, the keyword is straight as you begin. And here the title is truncated, because for the title you only have 70 characters, 60 to be precise. Let's go for 60, because it's not characters, but let's count 60 characters. If you go over, if you exceed this limit, it will be truncated. It doesn't look very polished as you want. So again, another thing. The last example here, what is in here that doesn't really convince me? First, what do they want to rank for? It's easy to understand. They want to rank for an accessible hotel or accessible rooms. So which are accessible, lots of touch points for people with disabilities, how they can use the services and the facilities. In this case, so we have some of the keywords, we don't have any keyword in the title. Accessible hotel features can be in New York. It doesn't really tell me anything. It doesn't tell anything to Google in the title. The meta description is really strange. Please feel free to look at the details below. This doesn't convince me. It looks unpolished. So you got 155 characters. Get the most out of them. That's what this is. So frequently asked questions. Again, this is your moment to shine. All the things that your customers would like to find, they need to find them in your, and you know what they always ask. You've been servicing them them for so long. You know what are the hot topics, the things that they always ask. It will save you time, because if you have a frequently asked questions and they find information they want to be bothering you, they might find information. And it creates the sort of relationship, like they understand me, they know what are my questions, they are already answering. It creates a sort of trust relationship. And Google will find this information, and we'll see in a minute also why it's important. Dedicated pages. How many pages do you need? It depends on you. What things do you want to be found for? Gift vouchers, events, special things that you can organize, private events, business connections, all of the things that you want to feature, they might deserve their own individual page. Again, this is our client. They want to be found for a lot of things, and they have a specific page for each of them. It takes a while to do it, but it really works. And the same happens for a blog. Now, you might think you don't need a blog, but a blog can give you a lot of satisfactions. You can use it to be found for all those extra keywords. And all of the related other things that people might be searching for. Say, I don't know how many times you found this kind of things to do somewhere, festivals, guides. They got regional guides. They even have a podcast. So there is a lot of things. You shouldn't copy paste stuff from around, but your own selection, the things that you recommend, the things that are closer to you, your edit, and then you can repurpose it in a lot of ways. It creates momentum. Whenever there is a new page, a new content being published online, Google can consider the page as giving a better user experience because the site has been refreshed and published something new. So if you have the possibility of adding some new things, with your own personal flair and twist, it helps a lot. So even if, for example, you have a restaurant, you can have guides, you can explain a little bit about your people. It can help quite a lot. Now, final piece and very important piece on how you can be found for free on Google Business Profile. If you don't have it, or if you're not maximizing, getting 100% out of it, it's a big potential that is not being capitalized on. Now, this is how a Google page usually appears. You have your organic results here, which is your website or TripAdvisor or whatever other directory you're listed in. And this is the local pack, the map pack. You will see your title and all the information, and you have a lot of control on this. Now, first thing that you do, you need a Google account. Once you have a Google account, you have two ways. Either your business already exists and you can claim it. Again, these are real examples. They've never been claimed. So if you see something like that, you can start claiming it as your own, and it already exists. So a part of the work has been done. Or if it doesn't exist, you have to create it. So you put your details. There is a lot of business categories now. There's some are really quite curious. Location, if you're delivering, if you're only servicing, and all of your local details, phone, website, social media. You can have a lot of information. You need to get verified, and the verification process can work in multiple ways. It can be a postcard, it can be a phone call. There is a lot of possible options. Then fill every detail, because this is where you can shine. This business description here is where you can put your keywords, not just keyword spamming. Make it sound nicely, make it convincing. This is somebody who added their business description, and it actually reads well. It actually gives me an idea where I would be and what to expect, and you can determine all of these assets. So make sure that this really entices me and makes me want to come and visit you. You can definitely add all of your business hours, let people message you. You can have an app for Google Business Profile, and if they message you, you start a conversation, you create a relationship with them already. You can flag all of the things that relate to you in particular. Images and videos on the website, on Google My Business, they make or break a first impression, because it can be something that is dark and not particularly exciting, or it can be something that really makes me come and visit your place. You have a lot of control into this. Your visitors will also be able to upload their images if they're leaving a review, and we'll talk about reviews in a second. And you can get a Google My Business Street View photographer as an option. Immediately goes into the Street View element. So there is a possibility of being featured with better images that are done by a photographer. And yeah, it can make quite an interesting element. Question and answers. Do you remember we were talking about Q&As? Now, again, this is an example. If people ask for a question and you don't answer, then somebody else, some other visitor might answer. And in this case, it's strange because the hotel owner didn't know how to answer. He didn't know how to manage these things himself. In other cases, you can absolutely have full control. So do we have connecting rooms? I'm afraid not, but we do have. So they see that you're replying. Is there parking available? There is a parking away, and yeah. So they can, yeah, we don't have our own car park, but there are plenty of options nearby. So you are creating that sort of relationship. All of your frequently asked questions, make sure they're here. Reviews. Now, Ashleigh will talk a lot about reviews. What I would like you to tell you is, on Google My Business, make sure that you ask your customers, because you will rank better. A website will be, a listing will be ranking better if it's got the highest number of reviews and the best quality. Those are elements that make a difference in how they rank. And look how nice it is if you see the response from the owner. I see that you care about me or about your customers, and you're replying to them. And it will pull reviews from TripAdvisor as well. So it's good to have a series of different touch points. Now, everybody's scared about getting fake reviews. They made it really easy to start the process. So you just log in and then you select your business if you've got multiple locations, and then you select which one is the review that you want to report. Now, in this case, we don't want to report any of them because they're all 5-star reviews. I couldn't show anybody else's reviews from this. I need to show ours. But it's so easy. When you see the thing that doesn't look right, you appeal. The appeal usually is 2-3 business days. It might take longer, up to 5, if you need a manual interaction, a human being to fix things for you. And that's it for me. And you find some, and I will share the recording and the PDF with you if you want to find out how to contact us. This is a little gift for you. If you want to scan the QR code, there is a free complimentary audit of the website that it's not downloadable, it's made by one of us, human-made, plus 1 hour of conversation. Again, no strings attached, all value paid forward. You get information on how you're ranking, what might be holding back on the website from being as well as could be, what are some possible things they're not capitalizing on. It can be quite insightful. And now I will leave the floor to Ashleigh.
Oh, well, thank you, Silvia. That was so insightful, and I think lots of practical takeaways. And as you said, I think that lovely free gift at the end to have each of the attendees to have their own websites audited from an SEO perspective and have the opportunity to chat with you around some things that they can do to improve their visibility and that online first impression. So thank you so much. Well, jumping into what happens next. So you've obviously spent a lot of work around your first impression online, and then how do you then bring that visitor to your website and turn them into a guest or a customer? So this is a real overview of the digital guest journey from that inspiration phase, which includes all of those SEO elements which Silvia has just taken us through. The inspiration phase could also come from one of your potential guests looking at some media coverage, seeing you on social media, being targeted with a sponsored post, or perhaps they've received a newsletter which features your property. So all of those avenues can be sources of inspiration. You'll then move through into acquiring and converting that guest, and then once you have them with you, you're then looking at how you nurture their pre-arrival experience once they're with you on site, so at your hotel, restaurant, at your business, and then how do you then continue to communicate with them once they've left, build that loyalty to then inspire them to return as a loyal returning guest. So I'm going to delve into each of these areas and just talk a little bit around some of the tips and tricks that you can look at in your business. Now, I appreciate this section is specifically on hospitality, and there might be some specific tools and suppliers that relate to this business, but it can certainly be transferred and applied to other businesses. So please feel free to drop any questions in the chat, and we can chat about specific platforms or any more detailed questions that you might have as we go. So you've done all of that amazing work. You've been found online, and then as Silvia said, you need to make it as easy as possible to convert that visitor to make a booking. And we saw some fantastic examples of those really mobile first designed sites that are driving you to book now. However, as I'm sure we're all aware, and the research that we do before we make that commitment, and we've all probably had a bit of a squeeze on our domestic disposable income. So our money that we ring-fence for travel hospitality is so precious. We want to ensure that whatever we're choosing is going to be great value, that we're going to get the experience that we're looking for. So before your potential customer decides to book with you, there are potentially 26 distractions and different touch points that they will go through before they commit to booking with you. So that could include everything from going off to do more research on your business, and they could Google you, they could look at articles in the press, they could look at your social media page. If you're a hotel or restaurant, they could perhaps go on to TripAdvisor, to third-party platforms, and see how you're represented there. So all of these different distractions are potential risk factors that could result in them booking something else because they've been so distracted and found something else, or booking you through a third party, and then you're missing out on that opportunity to gather their data, their contact data, to enable you to do this nurturing. So what's really highly important is maximizing your website to make sure that when that potential guest lands on there, that you're as quickly as possible converting them. You're giving them all of the information that they need to prove that you are worthy of their highly precious disposable income, and just making it as easy as possible to book. And I think that the rise, particularly since COVID, with being so kind of contactless, all of us expect that seamless, frictionless digital experience. So please look at everything from Apple Pay, Google Pay, and making it as easy as possible so that people don't have to run off and find credit cards to make bookings, that it's all really seamlessly built in, and that will enable you to convert as quickly as possible. So you've now taken your guests through your website, they've booked with you, fantastic. They've left some information about their stay, so whether they're coming with their family, what kind of room they've got. Perhaps you've been able to gather some preferences of they want a bedroom with a sea view, or they would like to be have a booking in the restaurant. So all of this data is really valuable insights that allows you to personalize that experience for that guest. So there's a lot of great CRM, customer relationship management, communication tools that are out in the marketplace. For a hotel perspective, Revenate, Foresight, and Sendine are probably the three key players. And on a smaller scale, things like MailChimp or MailerLite you can use to set up communication flows from once your customer has made a purchase to start to message them. So when you're speaking to your guests to build up that anticipation for arrival, depending on what type of business it is, you can drip feed that information. So a good rule of thumb is to maybe 14 days out have some communication, and that might be to perhaps pre-book something like a spa treatment or restaurant booking, particularly if those areas get quite busy. And then maybe 7 days out, you've got more inspiration, information about what to do in the area and how to make the best use of your stay. And then as you get to maybe 3 and perhaps 1 day before, it might be slightly more practical information about just reminding them of their reservation details, how to get to your hotel or restaurant from different transport locations. Perhaps enticing them with an early check-in if you know that they're coming from overseas and their flight might land early. So a lot of London hotels that we work with have a huge number of American guests coming over, and a lot of their flights land really early in the morning from Heathrow. So some of the messaging that we look at is around how you can offer an upsell of an early check-in before those guests arrive, and we particularly target that segment, knowing that they're coming from the US with that messaging. So at this stage, it's all about building that anticipation, building on that first impression that you've given them through that experience of being found online, converting them to the website, and really making them excited to come and stay with you. And then, of course, we're in the business of hospitality. So your guests will come and arrive with you at your hotel, and you'll be looking at using all of that information that you've gathered from the data that they've shared, the reason for the visit. And remember that one guest might have multiple trip personas. So that one guest might be staying with you on this occasion on business and actually would much prefer to have a really quick contactless check-in, go straight to their room. However, they might be returning on a trip with their family and they want to have the full, welcome from the team and, kids given a lovely welcome pack and more of a sort of lengthy check-in. So whilst this data is really powerful, there's also obviously that overlay of human intuition and that one-to-one contact that we make with that guest to create that real emotional connection. So your guest arrives with you, and yeah, really the digital expectation that you've created must then align with that experience. And I don't know how many times perhaps I've been into a hotel and I've stayed multiple times, and it's so obvious that that person who's checking me in hasn't looked at that information, and they'll be like, "Oh, is this your first time with us, Mrs. Donald?" I'm like, "No, actually, I've stayed at least 10 times and even met you before a few weeks ago." And I think, making sure that those connections are made and that you're welcoming that guest back and using all of that data to make that connection is so important at this stage. From a digital perspective, there's again lots of tools that you can help to support that human to human interaction. Lots of different ways to message your guests. There's various tools which are powered through WhatsApp that you can message your guest upon arrival, and perhaps again segmenting depending on the reason for their visit, offer them some sort of welcome amenity, come to the bar for a free drink, or did you know that there's a free children's playtime at this point if you're traveling with a family. So really using the technology to anticipate what that guest would find the most rewarding on their stay, and offering that to them and being there to support that from a sort of guest delivery perspective as well. And then your guest has had an amazing experience with you. You've really kind of delivered on their whole experience, and they check out with you, but that's not the end of the story. And this is where that reputation and brand loyalty building really can accelerate. So we've looked at the importance of reviews in Silvia's piece, particularly around an SEO perspective. And we'll look at the importance of reviews from a brand loyalty perspective in the coming slides. But in terms of your digital guest journey and that communications piece that you can have with your guests, there's a lot of amazing tools, again, with an effective CRM system, so you can communicate with your guests upon checkout. So you can, obviously check out online and send them their a bill, essentially, a copy of their invoice. But you can also then win them back to come and stay with you again. And where that's particularly powerful is if your guest has booked their stay with an OTA, with a Booking.com or Expedia, you can then entice them to return with you, but booking direct, and offer them an incentive to do that. So, for example, as we see that you booked with Booking.com or one of our third-party partners this time, why not book direct with us and enjoy a 10% discount on our best available rate, plus a free upgrade, or a discount on our food and beverage? All you need to do is leave your email address with us to join our community, as it were. So you're getting that email address to enable your communications to nurture that guest to return, and those OTA bookings, you can only communicate with that guest around 15 days after they check out. So it's really important that you're communicating usually within the first week of that particular guest leaving. For guests that you might have already got their email address and they've stayed with you already through Book Directly, you can do a we miss you. So perhaps maybe 3 or 6 or 12 months later, you can send a really enticing message to say, hey, it's been a while, we really miss you, come back, here's a special offer to return with us. And it's all, again, building that loyalty. And then from a review perspective, we can, again, just make sure that we're prompting our guests to leave reviews with us and say, how was your experience? Please give us some information about your stay. And you can do that, and those can be then automatically pushed through to TripAdvisor, to Google, which again supports your reputation management. So lots of different options, and I appreciate I've kind of gone through those quite quickly, but the main takeaway around any of your communications is personalization and being relevant in terms of when you're speaking to them, making sure that your automations are timely, and really just think about how your guest is kind of thinking and what they're looking for at each point of their stay cycle, and put yourself in the shoes of those guests as well, and just have a real sort of common sense approach. So I want to just delve into the relationship between reputation and bookings as our final piece before we move into our Q&As. So there's an actual weighting that Cornell University out of the States, which looks specifically around hospitality data, that looks at the impact between your reputation and your bookings. So we're all familiar with this point system here. And there's a statistic that says for every 1 point increase, you can expect to see an uptick in 14% of bookings and 11% on your average daily rate. So there's a direct correlation between having positive reviews and having a busier and more profitable hotel or restaurant. So it is really important, obviously, to deliver those experiences, to get those reviews, and to showcase what your property is doing well. And we saw in some of Silvia's examples some of those responses from the hotel management team. So as well as getting our guests to give us reviews, we also want to show that we're reading and responding and acting upon those reviews. So again, TripAdvisor have done some great research in this area around when users see hotel management responses, they're 57% more likely to book. 84% see that if there's an appropriate response to a bad review, it improves the impression of the hotel. So actually having a bad review isn't bad, but as long as it's responded to an appropriate and a non-defensive way, then that can actually improve the chances of booking. Again, 84% believes that the hotel management team care about their guests when they're reading those management responses, and a detractor would be a defensive or aggressive response. So 64% would say that it would make them less likely to book. So in terms of the importance of reviews, managing and responding to reviews, you can see that as a direct correlation to guests wanting to book your hotels. And this is just really, and again, this is probably really common sense, so apologies if it's too simplified, but just in terms of managing your guest feedback, you can set up feedback monitors and alerts in your Google platform, or if you're using a reputation management platform. And again, I've used the example of Revinate, which is has a reputation management tool as part of their CRM and email marketing suite, which aggregates all of the reviews, and every review the management team will receive an alert for. But particularly for those 1- and 2-star reviews, you want to have an instant alert, so you're very aware of any sort of negative reviews that are out there. The trick is to respond as quickly as you can. You know, hospitality is a 24/7 business in many ways. So if you can respond within certainly 24 hours, but generally the quicker the better, just to show that you're responsive and you're taking their feedback seriously. There's ways, again, in reputation management tools, but also the wonderful power of AI, where you can drop in a number of reviews at once into ChatGPT, for example, and ask it to give you some analysis of the sentiment and pick out some keywords, both negatively associated and positively associated. So you can start to form a picture of what is it, you know, that people are commonly talking about, what's kind of detracting people, what are people loving about what we do, and how can we do more of that. And it's really important to get the data around that, because I think sometimes sort of the anecdotes and that kind of human feeling of, oh, well, I think it's this. Well, actually, let's look at what the data is telling us. So, you know, very much look at that sentiment analysis. And also look at what your competitors are doing as well. So most restaurants, hotels will have maybe 4 or 5 key competitors that are in their sort of field of play that they'll closely monitor, what rates they're selling. Also look at what reviews they are getting and what people are saying about their properties, and look at how you can make that relevant to your hotel or restaurant. And then really, what does success look like? So looking at setting KPIs. So do you want to set KPIs for increasing the number of reviews that you get? So again, you're helping to drive that reputation management and helping to drive your SEO as you drive people more to Google. What does success look like? Are you trying to shift the needle to get from a 3 to a 4-star, and then seeing that in your occupancy and your average rate increasing? And then on a regular basis, whether that's in daily, weekly, monthly, annual meetings, you are looking at your guest reviews, looking at that score, and trying to evaluate what changes you can make into your operations, into your guest experience, into your communications, just to really enhance and elevate what you're doing based on that feedback. So that, I think, is my last slide. So I appreciate I've kind of whizzed through some of those, and there might have been some specific examples that you would like to delve into. So I know I can see the chat has been kind of filling up. So yeah, if we want to, Silvia, are you in the chat there? Is there any questions? Let me have a look. So
we have
so we've
collected, we've collected a couple of questions before, when we were talking before, and now I'm pretty sure you might have some other questions. So we can start with the ones that were mentioned before, and then we can go with any other question. Remember, there are no silly questions. The only silly questions are the ones you're not asking. So now you have the opportunity. You can ask us later as well if you want. If anything, you've got our contacts. If you've got anything that pops into your mind after this session, because these things need to be digested, and you would probably have questions after. We're not going anywhere. You can find us, you can ask. We're happy to help you. But today, Claire was asking, can you still have a Google My Business page using a third party until I get my own website? Absolutely. You can have a Google My Business without having a website. And if you look at somebody else's Google My Business, just checking, you will see that there are many that in their listing, they also have a button for website, but not all of them. many business owners do not have a website at the moment, or they haven't linked the website to their Google business profile. So you can create it, and it is a mini website in itself. So it doesn't have the possibility of ranking on Google organic results. It only stays within the map pack. So having a website is giving you a lot of other opportunities. But in itself, you can use it as a site, as a mini site, images, videos, description, posts, events. You can list your events, your special offers. You can keep it updated, frequently asked questions, articles, like a blog. You can do a lot. You can really get a lot, even without having a site. And the second question that Agnes was asking, how to link TripAdvisor reviews. Google should be able to aggregate reviews that it's online. So if it's got something in Google, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, and so on, it's kind of aggregating them all within Google's results. Any other questions? We still have like 10 minutes. Or actually, do you have anything else to explain about these points?
No, I think so Claire and I actually are on an Entrepreneur Accelerator program, and I'm delighted that you have joined us, because I know that you are looking to launch your own website, if I'm okay to say this, and you had mentioned earlier in the chat, so you're relying on third-party sites at the moment. And I think just a point around hotels and hospitality establishments have long relied on OTAs, so your Booking.coms and your third-party travel partners, to drive bookings into your hotels. But with the power of Google and all of these different tools, which Silvia has taken us through, hotels and independent establishments can really compete against the OTAs now, and Google's tools, which they've done a lot of work around Google Hotels, and really supporting more independent businesses to drive bookings directly to their own website. So in the Google My Business profile page, which Silvia showed you, it's so much easier now for a potential guest or customer of your business to find you online without necessarily using a third party and paying the commission fees, which can weigh up to 20% of their booking. So what I would say in terms of launching your own site and the tools that you can do for free with Google, it can really start to shift that business to booking direct, and it might be slow to begin with, but the trend is very much that Google wants to almost become a middle person. But even with spending money on Google ads and things like that, there's a lot of clients that Halo works with who are using that the Google tools and putting some money behind AdWords, and probably saving up to about 15% on fees that they would ordinarily spend with OTAs. And then the benefit of getting that direct booking is that you get that data that you can then start to nurture that guest journey and build that loyalty, which you don't get that opportunity if they book through a OTA, because their email addresses are masked. So all I would say is really from a developing your business, really looking at creating your own website. There's a lot of free and cost-effective tools to do that. So yeah, don't be afraid to go for it. And of course, Silvia and I are here for any additional questions. And with that, we've linked up our LinkedIn profiles here, and I know many of us are already connected anyway, but feel free to scan the QR codes to link in directly with us. And as Silvia has kindly offered a free SEO audit, I'm delighted to speak to anyone for a free consultation and look at your business and how that guest journey currently looks like. So please just DM me, send me an email, and I can send you my Calendly link, and we can get some time booked in. We've just got an additional restaurant. Do you have a booking system that you recommend for a restaurant? I would say that the probably the main player is OpenTable, which you might be familiar with, and they have a two-tier kind of pricing model that if you use their widget on your own website, it's much less of a fee. They're just using it as a way to get the booking. But if somebody was to book through the OpenTable website where you're being listed with other restaurants, they take a slightly higher fee. But they would definitely be, I would say, that the biggest player in terms of being found online. A lot of people have their apps already downloaded on the phone, so that would be my kind of go-to recommendation. And then there are others such as I think Res Diary is another one. There's a few different depending on what system you have in place that needs to connect to it. But I think, yeah, OpenTable is probably the go-to place really for ease of booking, definitely. Great.
Any other question? Got 5 minutes more. If you've got, I don't know, something that you heard, and you don't know, does it really work like that? Or I don't know, anything that pops to mind. It doesn't have to be a very difficult question, even if it's something that you are worried, or if you want to keep it more private, you can send it to us and we will answer later.
Yeah, well, we'll just, please, as Silvia said, we're here if there's anything that you think of afterwards or specifically that you would like to talk about in relation to your business, then we're both here to answer any questions and to take more of a deep dive into your business if you would like any support. So, so I think, well, with that, we'd both like to say a huge thank you so much for your time and spending this hour with us. It's been great to have you all here, and look forward to continuing our conversations. So Silvia, over to you and to wrap up.
Thank you, Nikos, for the nice words in the chat, and thank you all for being here. As we preach, we will practice. So we will reach out to you, asking if you want to share what you like the most, if there was any aha moment, any light bulb moment, the blinding flashes of obvious, those things that we know they're very important, but until somebody tells us, we would not have thought of them. It's great to have you here. Let's keep talking. So you've got access to us now, and you can thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Barbara. We can more. It's so nice to see you. And let's keep talking. And thank you for spending this hour with us.
Oh, great. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.